Hi everybody, and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. A quick PSA about this video. It has two stories and both of them have updates. And I believe the second story might give you a laughing facepalm kind of reaction. I hope you enjoy them. Now let's get started. This post is from the subreddit Relationships and it's by user No Meat Please. My 27 female boyfriend 30 male of 9 months knows I'm a vegetarian and put meat in my food without my permission. The guy I'm dating is sort of a good old boy. Hell, I live in an area where most of the guys would probably describe themselves with that phrase. I'm a vegetarian and have been since I tried to kill a chicken when I was 15 and couldn't go through with it. I don't mind that other people eat meat, but on a moral level, it's not okay for me. I'm not the vegetarian police, but I also get tired of having to explain to people around here that I do get enough protein, I'm small framed and 118 pounds, and that I'm not eating the vegetables they cooked in lard. My boyfriend teases me about being a vegetarian, but behind closed doors, was actually really accommodating about it. He cooks me vegetarian food and says eating less meat has helped him take off a couple of pounds. He had me and some of his friends over the other night. He made pork chops for them and a big salad for me. While I was eating my salad, I kept thinking that something was off. The dressing was so oily and had a really strong flavor. He always makes his own dressing, so I asked him what he used. We had all been drinking, and at this point his two friends start cracking up. I'm sort of clueless, so I'm waiting for him to answer. He tells me he mixed in lard for extra flavor and he didn't think I would notice. At this point, I just freeze mid-chew. When he sees my reaction, he starts telling me it's not a big deal, it's just a joke, don't get upset, etc. I calmly spit the food into my napkin, place the plate down, and get up to leave. Everyone's gotten quiet at this point. His friends start apologizing, saying it was their idea, and my boyfriend starts telling me not to go. F that, I don't say a word and walk home. I know that vegetarians get a bad rap, but believe me when I say I'm not one of those people. I work in a rural community involving agriculture. I would never survive out here if I was. I pack my own lunches for conventions and never make a big deal out of it. But having someone I care about essentially trick me into eating meat without my permission is crossing a huge line for me. I haven't spoken, call or text to him for a few days now. He apologized and sent flowers, but in one of the texts, he told me I was overreacting, which for me was a deal breaker. My parents really like him, and when I told him what happened, my dad got upset and told me I'm making too big of a deal out of something silly. He says I'm letting my ridiculous eating habits dictate my life. Reddit, I'm really hurt. I feel like tricking me into eating lard was really cruel, but everyone's attitude here is that I need to get a sense of humor. I'm out of town at a conference and I'm going to have to discuss this with him when I get back. Am I just being too sensitive? Well, OP, in my opinion, no, you are not being too sensitive. Let's move away from your dietary preferences and let's really focus on the big issue here, that he broke your trust. And let's also discard any kind of argument that would say that this could be considered a joke or a prank for you to get a sense of humor. You weren't laughing, so that doesn't fly. So again, the issue to me here is that he broke your trust. He's cooked vegetarian for you before, he knows that you wouldn't like that kind of dressing, did it anyway, and then watched you eat it, considering this is something of a personal preference that you don't want to do. And on top of that, and what makes it worse to me, is that he never mentioned that he apologized. He just dismissed how you felt and actually told you that you were overreacting. So no, OP, I don't think you were being too sensitive. I do think you need to talk to your boyfriend and set things straight. And also your dad is being an idiot. Instead of actually defending you, standing up for you because somebody broke your trust, regardless of how they did it, he calls your eating habits ridiculous and that you need to get a sense of humor. Not cool, Dad. And what do you guys think? Do you think OP was overreacting or being too sensitive? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Elementality22 says, you're not being too sensitive. Yes, it's not like you're allergic and would have died had you ingested lard, but it's still something that is very important to you and something you've been doing for half of your life almost, and he and his friends should be able to respect that. It's telling that in private he's accommodating, but let his friends talk him into messing with you this way, which is also a breach of trust. It sounds like you're in a place where people just don't respect vegetarians, no matter how nicely they go about it, and so they will think it's a small deal. But if you broke up with them because of this, I don't think it would be an overreaction on your part. Vivid Lotus says, it's not just this one incident that's the problem. The problem is that he violated your trust and seems to show a lot of disrespect for you. He called vegetarianism a ridiculous habit and then decided to take it upon himself to force you, albeit temporarily, to do something that violated your beliefs. What happens when he disagrees with something else about how you live your life? Is he just going to sneak around behind your back and undo or circumvent it? I don't think this necessarily has to be an immediate deal breaker, but he really needs to apologize and mean it. I would sit him down and talk about how much this hurt you, and emphasize that the problem isn't the meat itself, but the disrespect he showed you. Deleted says, I'm not a vegetarian, but I recall when I was a kid and my grandfather kept rabbits. We loved going there so we could play with them. One lunch, my twin brother and I were eating spaghetti and chicken, and they asked us how it was. You can guess the rest. How they laughed and how my twin and I bawled. Your boyfriend intentionally set you up to be a joke to his friends. That would offend me almost as much as the meat feeding. If he doesn't get it, then ask how he would feel if you cut up some pet food and hid it in his sausage. Then again, why waste your time? If you see a future with him, then give him a second chance. But if you're on the fence, roller skate away. And OP responds, oh god, I'm so sorry. We have a 4-H club around here for rabbits and most of them are show stock. I bet if that happened to some of those kids, they would be devastated as well. And I can't roller skate worth a damn, but thank you for the advice. Being the punchline of a joke you've heard for 10 plus years is definitely aggravating, but even worse when it's from a loved one. Additional information from OP's comments. Whoops, after reading through these comments, I believe it was bacon grease. Apparently, I should brush up on this as well. Smiley face. And it's most definitely a southern thing. Also, for those asking why I was about to kill a chicken, one of my best friend's grandfathers had a farm and was a very firm believer in being able to kill what you eat. He felt Americans were becoming too removed from their food. I'm sure he knew I wouldn't be able to do it. I was a real softie of a kid when it came to all the livestock. We talked about why I couldn't do it and I cried, but it wasn't too traumatic. He let me buy the chicken off of him too. Smiley face. I have to say that the frustrating part of being a vegetarian is that you get significant backlash if you infringe on people about their eating habits, but some people are bizarrely comfortable passing judgment on mine. Also, I tried being vegan for 3 years and eventually realized I just couldn't do it. We all make moral compromises in different areas of our lives, and this is where I made mine. I also didn't throw the salad away or even put my chewed up portion back onto the plate. I set it down on the table and left it. OP's edit. Dang, I did not believe I would come home to all this feedback. Thank you guys so much for making me feel less crazy. I probably should have mentioned this in the original. I was leaving the following evening for a conference and I sent my boyfriend a text when I woke up that I was angry and didn't want to contact him until I got back. And my dad always thought that my vegetarianism was a phase that I'd grow out of, but I think he and I are going to have a talk when I get back home. As for the boyfriend, we're also going to have a talk. He's made some other comments that I've let slide, about cyclists in particular, so it's time for me to lay it out there. Alright, well, the community basically said the same thing. It's not about the food itself, it's about the trust. And OP got some confidence and is going to confront both her boyfriend and her dad. So how about we move on to the update to see how that went? Well, we had our come to Jesus talk when I got back about what happened. I explained to him how tired I was of defending being a vegetarian to people. It feels like my social identity, like if someone was trying to describe me to a coworker, they'd say, you know, the vegetarian girl. And I really dislike that because I never bring it up. And when I say defend, I mean you get questions from all over. People seriously take you to the task. Crap, one of the commenters on my last thread compared my actions to letting a child starve in a third world country. I've been asked multiple times if I spit or swallow considering I'm vegetarian, or had some armchair philosophers point out the inconsistencies in my morals. Well, if it's for ethical reasons, you should abstain from all animal products. And as I've gotten older, my defiance flag just isn't flying as high anymore. I don't want to sit down every lunch with coworkers and hear the bad hunter joke, or have the Roots secretary tell me that she read vegetarianism is usually a cover for an eating disorder. So So yeah, I obviously have a chip on my shoulder about all of this. Everything I said above, I laid out to my boyfriend. All of it. He explained he didn't think the joke would be a big deal because something similar happened at a potluck. One of my friends made a pasta side and used chicken stock. She didn't think about it and I couldn't tell. When she realized this later on, I shrugged and told her, sometimes it happens. No reason to be angry with an honest mistake. I was pretty exasperated by his comparison and explained the difference using all of the examples you guys raised. Hit very heavy on the respect subject. We argued about this for a bit and at one point he said, "I basically became a vegetarian for you." I bristled up over this comment because I've never asked that of him or anyone I've ever dated. I also pointed out that he was nowhere near a vegetarian, which was admittedly sort of petty. This went back and forth for a while. Finally, I just threw my hands up and asked why this was such a big deal. Why couldn't we sit down and talk boundaries and move forward? He said he was worried about the future. He wants marriage, kids, and a stay-at-home wife. His mom told him that I need to eat meat during the pregnancy for the baby to develop properly, and that the kids need to eat meat to grow up big and strong. I just stared at him, mouth opened, completely blanked out. He said that he loved me, but it was time for me to grow up and compromise. Honestly, I didn't know what to say. This was the first time he'd said he loved me, but he was also talking about a future that I didn't remember signing up for. I'm pretty lukewarm on kids, and I definitely have no interest in being a stay-at-home mom. And compromise? What the hell? You can be a vegetarian while pregnant and have a perfectly healthy child. I think I was just overwhelmed. I said something along the lines of, "I think you have the wrong girl," and went home pretty defeated. The next night I went to talk to my dad about what he said. Initially he claimed he was worried for my health and brought up my bad run with veganism. Fair point. But after some poking and prodding, he finally said, "I'm just worried you're never going to find someone." Deep down, I think I knew that was his main concern. All the rest of my siblings are married and have children, so I'm already the odd one out. Add on to that my political and religious opinions, the college degree, Vigo, I told him that my boyfriend and I broke up and burst immediately into tears. He gave me a big hug and told me he supported and loved me, but he wanted to be able to lie on his deathbed and know I would have someone to take care of me. Then I went home and stared at a wall for 3 hours. I'm okay, but still sorting all my feelings out. I had a heavy night of whiskey drinking, a long morning of puking, and then I bought some anti-aging cream. My friends are taking me on a trip next week, which I'm really looking forward to. That's about it. Smiley face. Well, OP, for me the silver lining is that now you know you and your boyfriend were absolutely incompatible in this point, which would have caused a lot of problem if you guys would have ever gotten married or wanted to have kids. So even though your relationship ended, I'm still gonna call this a happy update. Thank you so much for sharing, OP, and all the best in the future. Now, let's move on to the next post. This post is from the subreddit Relationships, and it's by user, a lot of numbers. My 27 boyfriend, 28, slept with another woman and claims I wanted him to. My hands are shaking, so sorry if there are typos. I don't know if I'll be able to explain what just happened. I'm in a hotel room right now, just falling apart. I live with my boyfriend, Jack. We've been together 2 years. The relationship has been good. Sex is frequent, we say I love you often, and both of us participate in the other's family functions. I don't have any major complaints, and to my knowledge, he hasn't been unhappy. I am deeply in love with him. I came home today about an hour early. I had started to get a migraine at work, which isn't super unusual. And once I started to get nauseated, I decided I should just go home and lie down. It doesn't happen a ton, but maybe a few times a year where I decide to take the afternoon off. My boyfriend works nights, so is often home during the day. Anyway, I pulled in the driveway and his car was there. Not unusual, he doesn't work until the evening. I parked on the street out front like I always do. You can't really hear the car from the distance unless you're really listening. And went into the apartment. The bedroom is on the far side of the apartment from where I came in, so you usually can't hear a key in the lock or anything, especially with the air conditioning on. It was. I said hello as I came in, but could immediately hear that the air conditioning was on in the bedroom. It's a separate window unit and pretty loud. I opened the door to say hello to Jack, and there he is, right in the middle of having sex with a girl doggy style. They both froze and she looked really shocked. He was just sort of expressionless. She immediately sort of scrambled for the sheets, but he just sat there. I guess I was in shock because I actually walked in the bedroom where they were, got my suitcase from under the bed, and even said, "Excuse me," to the girl effing my boyfriend. I went to my closet and threw a bunch of clothes in the case, and all the while he's constantly talking. I can't remember everything he said, but I distinctly heard him said, "I wanted to surprise you. We've wanted to spice things up in the bedroom." I didn't say anything and left and came to this hotel. We've discussed having a threesome in the past, and I even said I would possibly be open to it at some point in the future. I told him I found the idea exciting, but that we would need to discuss things and find the right person if it was actually going to happen. I never wanted him to just surprise me out of the blue. He's been blowing up my phone ever since. He's left several voicemails and sent about a dozen texts. He said things didn't go like he imagined, but he thought it would be sexy to have a spontaneous threesome. He said he was trying to fulfill my fantasy. I've been crying for the last 3 hours. I have no idea what to think at this point. I think he's lying to me, but what if he really thought he was doing what I wanted? Is it possible he's just that clueless? Please, please help. No, OP, in my opinion, it's impossible that he's really this clueless. He's just cheating on you and trying to give it a positive spin so that you don't break up with him. The only question I would have for him is, how did he know you would be going home that day? It's not like you can schedule a migraine. So he was having sex with a girl in your bedroom, but he didn't really know that you were coming home. Hence, he was cheating on you. You caught him and he was quick on the lie and tried to give the spin like, "Hey, remember that one time we spoke about having a threesome? Well, I set it up and it's happening right now." No, that is not the case, OP. And I'm pretty sure that you know this too. If I was in your shoes, this is the end of the relationship. I would make sure that I'm never going there alone, and the next time I do go there would be to get my stuff. And what do you guys think? Do you believe the boyfriend? Let me know in the comment section, and now let's move on to the community comments to see what they said. Autumn X says, "Really? You know he's lying. Tell him that you're breaking up with him because he wanted you to. He slept with another woman in your bed. Another woman slept with your boyfriend in your bed because he invited her to. There should be no wondering of anything. If you need help leaving the relationship, ask family and friends." Dinosaur Train says, "The best thing you can do right now is block his number and never utter another word to him again. You'll never get closure. Talking to him is just like lying on the floor. You are too damn good to even entertain lies, so don't. You'll have to arrange moving out somehow. I don't know the terms of your lease and how much money you have, so I don't have any advice there. But you can arrange getting out or getting him out without ever speaking to him again. Let him burn up for the rest of his life, never able to unload his crap on you and somehow make it your fault. Sorry about all of this. Be strong. This is a blessing in disguise. This could have happened while you were pregnant or married, so this is a massive bullet dodged. Oh, and get tested for everything." Bakanki says, "I know this already has 120 plus comments, but I'm going to add mine because every bit of encouragement helps in this case. Girl, do not let him gaslight you like this. As someone that got out of a 4.5-year relationship last year, I can understand that you put a lot of yourself into this, and I can understand the feeling that your world will simply stop turning if you leave the person you love. Unfortunately, the truth of the matter is that he cheated on you. There was absolutely no way he could have known that you were going to get a migraine and come home. Who starts a threesome without the third person? Why was the girl surprised? What the F? Come on, love. You know he lied to you. And the fact that he came up with such an utterly ridiculous excuse means that he must think you're an absolute idiot. Do not prove him right. You are not an idiot and you know the truth. I know how hard it can be, but you need to be strong, no matter how much you are tempted to just believe the lie and live on in denial." Alright, well, the community agrees in absolutely everything. He cheated and the lying was just inconsistent. So how about we move on with the update to see how this story ends. Firstly, thank you all for your comments and advice. My gut knew that I had to end the relationship, but I needed a kick in the pants to actually do it. The apartment we live in is actually owned by my uncle, with whom I am very close. I lived there for free while attending grad school. It is part of a building he owns and was his way of helping me afford to further my education. He had no problem with my boyfriend also living there, on the condition that he helped out with managerial duties and repairs around the building. I called my uncle and told him the circumstances, and he called Jack and told him that he needs to find a new place to live. He's not on a lease or anything, so hopefully it won't be a legal issue. I haven't responded to Jack in any way since yesterday. I returned to the apartment this afternoon after going to the doctor to get tested for STDs, thankfully clear so far. Jack was there. Since he spoke with my uncle, he knew that I was breaking up with him and wanted him out. He immediately tried to argue with me, saying once again that the whole thing had been intended as a gift for me. I just ignored him as I went around the place packing his things. He also said that the only reason he started without me was that he wanted to get used to the two of them together, so things wouldn't be awkward when I arrived. Apparently, he thought having sex with her first would make the threesome go smoother. I didn't even look at him, I just kept packing. I'm proud of myself that I didn't cry. I think I was past the point of crying. He kept blabbering on, saying that he just wanted to test the waters with the other person so that when the time came, they could both focus totally on me. The final straw was when he said that I was being totally unreasonable and ungrateful for the effort he was putting into our sexual relationship. I stared at him for a minute and then I just started laughing. I couldn't control it. I must have laughed hysterically for a full minute. He got angry but finally shut up and stopped trying to justify himself. I asked for his key and then told him to leave. I said that he could call to arrange a time to come pick up all his things, but not to contact me for any other reason. His parents live in the same city, so I know he has somewhere to stay. He left, looking pretty forlorn. I didn't ask how long he'd been cheating on me. Just knowing about the one incident was enough. He's obviously not the person I thought he was. I don't feel like I even know him anymore. I'm still sad, but I'm going to be okay. There's no way I could keep someone like that in my life. Thanks again for all the encouragement and motivation to end it for good. I knew the truth in my heart, but I needed to know I wasn't crazy. Well, good job, OP. Bullet dodged. And about laughing in his face, I probably would have done the same thing. I was half laughing while I was reading your post because the lies were just so ridiculous. Anyways, thank you so much for sharing, OP, and all the best in the future. Take care. And it's that time that we've reached the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed today's stories. I really did enjoy reading them to you. So if you did, then don't be shy and go ahead and give the video a like. And don't forget to subscribe or even share this video with people that you might think will enjoy my storytelling. Also, if you have the time, go down to the video description and check out all the links I have for you, from our Discord community to my channel merch. And finally, I'd like to say thank you for watching. It really means a lot to me that you enjoy my videos. And having said all that, I'll see you guys in the next video.